Hi there everybody, welcome to another video. On today's video I have this Audi A3 2017 model, the 1 liter TFSI petrol automatic, and I'm going to be changing the oil and the oil filter. We're also going to quickly top up some screen wash fluid, and we're going to check the coolant level and percentage of antifreeze in it. So I'm going to start by topping up screen wash fluid. So obviously if you get your bonnet open and you come to the engine bay here, you are going to find this blue cover, and in there goes screen wash fluid. Now use the proper fluid. You can buy screen wash fluid anywhere, any garage, petrol station. You can buy it concentrated, already mixed, but just remember, if you only put water in here, water can freeze, and as a result you will not get any water coming out of your jets. And the other issue is frozen water can expand and damage your tank. So just use the proper fluid and fill up your tank. Looks like I need a bit more. Right, I filled that up, so now we can close that and we're done. So you can buy one of those containers with 5 liters and just carry it in your car and keep that topped up, as this is always essential. I mean, especially if you use the car a lot. If you don't use the car a lot, that fluid can ferment as well. It can have a weird vinegar smell if you haven't used it for a long time. So it's a good idea to use it anyway, so it doesn't stay there for long periods of months or years. So let's move on to the coolant tank in this car is here, and we're gonna open this cover in order to check the antifreeze percentage. Just remember to open this cover carefully, especially if the car's been running for a while, because coolant can be hot and it can burn you really badly. So obviously if it's cold, it's okay. Right, that's open. Now you may be able to see from here the level. So those are the markings there. You have a max and a min there. If you shine a light to it, it's a lot easier to see. So you can see this is quite perfectly on the max line there. If it was on the minimum, you want to top up a bit. If there was no fluid here, then there might be a leak somewhere. So then you have to investigate where that leak might be from. And now I'm going to use this little gadget that's going to give us sort of the percentage of antifreeze that we have, which means up to what temperature can these withstand not to freeze. So you can see the little gauge there, it says minus, possibly about -30. -30 is what I get in most of the cars I do, so that's a good value there. That's a good temperature. And you can see also in this gadget, you can see a bit of the color of the antifreeze, which is a bit pink, and you can see it's nice and clear and it's not contaminated as well. So good little gadget to have, made by Worth. This one is really old now, but yeah, there's probably newer versions of that, I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm happy with that coolant. Coolant gets changed technically every 2 years or so. That's what they recommend to do. They recommend to change your coolant every 2 years, but not everybody does. Nevertheless, at least you can check it, make sure it's up to level, and make sure it's got a good percentage of antifreeze, and then that locks into position. Again, if you only have water in there, water can freeze and it can damage your engine. Simple as that. So make sure you have a good percentage of antifreeze. Antifreeze also protects the engine from corrosion. Right, let's move on to the engine oil and filter here. So I'm going to start by pulling the dipstick and also opening this oil filler cap here. Just going to open that, leave it sitting there, a little bit open, and that just allows a little bit of air into the system, into the engine, while we drain the oil from underneath, so it drains a little bit easier. Now I'm gonna get the car up, we'll drain the oil from underneath. Looking at the car from underneath, we want to remove this cover here. It's held in by some Torx screws I already removed. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4 T25 screws, look like this. So T25 Torx, and there is another 3 on the other side here, 1, 2 and 3, and then there is another 3 Torx, 1, 2 and 3, but these are T45 Torx. So again, I already took the other 2 out, and then oh, there is one more just there. There always has to be one more. Okay, let's get that out. And then we can hopefully slide this out of here, but it's sort of clipped in, you may be able to see here. So you just have to unclip it from there, maybe with a screwdriver, and take it out. So I'll do it with my 2 hands. Okay, now we have access to the sun plug bolt just there, 19 mil, and also the oil filter, which is sitting just here. Right, let's crack this open. Make sure you have an oil pan to catch the oil. Again, if the car's been running a lot, that oil can be very hot, so don't burn yourself. That shouldn't be really too tight either, especially if the car is being regularly serviced. Then we're gonna get this off. Right, we're gonna let that drain, and then we can tackle the filter. So I'm gonna use this tool to remove the filter, and this is the size of this. It's a 7614, and that fits. So this is my new filter here, by the way. This is a genuine one, 04E115561 AC. Obviously make sure you get the correct one for your car using your registration, because sometimes they can vary slightly. So that fits in there, and then we can remove our tool. When we refit the filter, we don't really use a tool, we just do it by hand. Okay, so I just noticed that this is the filter here, obviously, and then there's this switch here sticking out a little bit. Now you could use a different type of tool to remove this if you wanted to, or just press on that little clip there and take this out. This is the AC compressor. Obviously just make sure you remember to plug it back in, or you're not gonna have air conditioning. Right, otherwise what I was saying is you could use a wrench, something like this, that opens and you can grab the filter and get it out, but not exactly essential. Now let's put that in there, and also make sure you have your oil pan sitting underneath, because oil will drip from there. Okay. My tool out. Right, now we can just take this out. Okay. That one there is a man filter. Actually, W71295. So that's just an aftermarket one. Right, that is out. Also, one thing to notice, sometimes this belongs to the filter. So if that stays there and you try to fit your other filter, it's going to be a problem. So make sure that comes out as well. It technically should come out with the filter, but sometimes it stays there. It's happened to me with a lot of VWs. And that surface there should be nice and shiny. And then we're gonna give it a little wipe. And also we're going to prepare our bolt here. So we just want to remove the old washer. You can't take it out straight. Sometimes you have to sort of unscrew it to get it out. And then I should have another washer here. These are copper washers that will fit in there nicely. If you want to know the size of that washer, I'll give it to you. So 14 by 20 by 1.5 millimeters. That's the one. Now we just want to wipe this, make sure it's nice and clean and that there's nothing around it that can cause a leak. Obviously a bit more oil will be leaking from there, that's no problem. And we can prepare, we can put our filter. I'm just putting a bit of grease here, multi-purpose grease. You can use a bit of the oil that's dripping from there as well. That just helps this O-ring sit nicely and not get damaged. So get that in there and tighten it by hand. And that's it. Now we can rinse the area wherever some oil is gone. I'm using some brake cleaner here, not brake fluid, brake cleaner. So it's a cleaning fluid that we use for rinsing oil and cleaning areas. It's very good. That's it. And we're also ready for our sun plug bolt here. Now we're going to torque that to 30 Newton meters. Okay, got my torque wrench here. We're going to torque that to 30. And that's it. Not a lot of force at all. And some of them, I mean, 30 to 35 Newton meters. Some are even 40 Newton meters, to be honest, but depends. This is a big bolt, a 19 mil. So you could torque it to 35 if you wanted to. Right, that is done. Filter is on, tight by hand. So happy days. And we rinse the area, everything is nice and clean as it was. Now we can put the cover back in here and then we're going to top up some oil. Don't forget to plug in the AC switch if you disconnected it. There we are. Now it's time to get some oil in there. I'm going to be using 5W30 of this make. I would really recommend using maybe Mobile A1 or Super Mobile 3000 5W30. Depends where you live really. If you live in Alaska, maybe you want to use thinner oil. But if you live in the Sahara Desert, maybe you want to use slightly thicker oil. So check your manual, or do a little bit of research on Google which oil is best for where you live, because the temperatures here in the UK are very mild in terms of not too hot, not too cold, and 5W30 usually fits the bill. Right, so also oil for petrol engines is recommended the ACEA A3 or B3. That's the equivalent to what they recommend in the manual. So I think they recommend long life 01, long life, or W504 for VW and Audi. So yeah, actually the long life is for BMW. I was getting confused with that because it's the one I used yesterday, but you can see all the recommendations here for the different cars, Mercedes, Porsche, that you can use these oils. Right, so I'm gonna put in there 4 liters. The capacity was not in the manual. I had to find that again on Google. So depending on your engine, you also need to find that information, how much oil your car takes. It is not written in the manual, unfortunately. Anyway, I'm gonna put 4 liters in there and then we'll get the car going. Right, oil is in. Now we can close this cover here, and you have a dipstick here which you can use to check the oil quantities. Let me just wipe this a little bit. But if you look at your manual, there are 2 sections here. Well, there's a line there where they show you the minimum, and then there's a line there for the max. In the manual, it shows you as area 1 and area 2. So we are aiming to be at area 2, but they also say if you're above, then it's overfilled. And if you overfill too much oil, it can also damage your engine. It can damage the seals, or even what they say is the catalytic converter. If your oil is at the minimum, you want to top up a little bit. If it's in the middle, it's okay. So anyway, in this case, if I put it in and I take it out, it'll probably look completely full and above the full, and that's because some of the oil will go. It's difficult to see, but it's up to somewhere up to here. Now some of that oil will go into the oil filter itself, about 300 mils of it. So then when you check this again, it will go down and it should be at the max. Right, so I'm gonna clean this, fit it back in there, and we start the car. Right, let's get the car going. I just have my computer there because I also check for phone calls. But anyway, so I just like to stay here for a few seconds, a few minutes, not just seconds, making sure there's no oil warning lights or any warning lamps here. There's nothing there, so happy days. Then we can go to the engine area and just check for any obvious leaks. And we are pretty much done here. So engine's running smooth, and so that's it. Happy days. So having said that, if you have any questions, just go ahead and ask. And if the video helps, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.